88.1 The Burg, your music central. You are in the backyard burn with your boy Shane Dog Peterson, and I'm standing alone in this first break by myself, bringing you guys into the hour that we're going to be having here today. We have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up here in the next hour. We've got some interesting trending topics, talking about stuff coming out of the rap world, and we're even going to do a little bit of deep diving into what Dr. Phil said that's causing so much controversy. Those will be coming up in the rest of the hour. It's Friday, people. It's the end of the week. It is the best day of the week, in my opinion, just because as soon as you're done with your work or whatever you got to do, you're a free man for at least 2 days, or, at least until you got to show up to Sunday service. I mean, it's all depending on what you got going on. So I know that as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go home and I'm going to take a fat nap because it's Friday. I deserve it. Online classes are brutal. I'm sure all of you guys know this. I love just showing up to class and just talking and getting participation. Like, that's how I get my good grades, is just riding that participation wave. I'm out of all like sports and stuff, I always was the first person to get their participation trophy just because that's how much I participate. 88.1 The Burg, your music central, in the backyard burn with your dude Shane Dog Peterson. And look who finally showed up, Mr. Noah Annette. How are we doing, bud?
Dude, you know what? We're alive. We're awake. We're alert, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, Shane.
Absolutely. I actually wanted to first off and start off with a question for you. I know you're a TV guy. You've talked a lot about your shows. You like watching the TV. What is your opinion on, the good old classic Dr. Phil?
See, I think Dr. Phil is a pretty smart guy. I like there's a story about Dr. Phil. I can't remember too much about it, but it's I think it's who's the guy from Blue Collar Comedy Tour? That's
Jeff Foxworthy?
No, not him. The
Larry the Cable Guy?
The one that no, the other one that's not as famous. It's not Bill Engvall. It's the other one.
Ron White?
Ron White, there we go. I really like Ron White, but we went through all the Comedy Tour now. But yeah, Ron White parties with Dr. Phil on his boat and has a whole comedy bit about it. It's pretty funny. And it's an older bit that he had about him, but that's what I think of when I think of Dr. Phil, partying with Ron White.
That would be a boat that I would like to be on. I think that would be a lot of fun. Ron White's a killer. He's an absolute killer. But I think Dr. Phil might have done something pretty dumb yesterday. So he went on Fox News and he was talking about the coronavirus, and he started throwing out some numbers that came back as very false. Very, very false. There's a direct quote from Dr. Phil. I have it right here. He was talking about kind of how this whole lockdown is going to do more damage than the actual virus itself. And he quotes, 360,000 people die every year from swimming pools. CDC research says only 3,500 people die every year from drowning or water-related deaths.
Geez. So he messed up with a zero. That'll get you.
Well, that's times 10 almost. He definitely was throwing out numbers. He was talking a lot. He made a comment about how people are dying every year from lung cancer, but we still don't shut it down. Making some real bad judgments. And let me tell you, I don't know how much you all know about Dr. Phil, but I did a little research. Do you know Dr. Phil is not even a practicing clinical psychologist that sits down and actually does psychological work? He has a degree and an emphasis in forensic psychology. So he's into catching psychopaths and serial killers. He knows the mental breakdowns of those people and the habits and the things that they do. Not anything to do with the disease. No credibility at all.
Yeah, all I know is he got Danielle Bregoli really famous. That's something that I remember about Dr. Phil.
Is that that's the Catch Me Outside girl, right?
Yeah. So she wasn't. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Shane's nodding his head. No, he's not happy.
I'm not a fan of her. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all.
He doesn't like that girl.
She's still around. That's the thing that bothers me the most. You still see her around. You're just why are you? She's like a parasite or a cockroach of this pop culture that we have. And clip it. Send it to her. I'll say it to her face. Clip it.
Well, she's hanging out with David Spade these days. She's been showing up on his talk show.
Oh God. At what I mean, good for you getting on David Spade's show, but at what point do you realize that they're just using you for content? And you're just
Well,
completely okay with that.
I think she's matured a little bit more since what she used to be is part of it. But I did not appreciate how she like treated like her parents in her little show or whatever and whatnot.
It's all dramatized up, but still at the same time,
Yeah.
if that's what you want to get famous for, I could think of a lot of other cooler things. Like, hey, have your own radio show, right?
Yeah, there we go.
That's like yeah, that's the way to do it, right? But anyway, Dr. Phil, we all love him, but the dude's out here saying wild stuff. If you got a good Dr. Phil story, or if you got anything to say about this wildness, even this virus, hit the line at 509-963-2311. 88 won the Burg, your Music Central. Backyard Burn with your guys Shane Dog, Peterson, and Mr. Noah Annette. We are still chilling here in studio quarantine. And Noah, we've been talking a lot about a lot of the stuff that we've been doing to keep ourselves occupied and trying to keep ourselves entertained during this time. And it looks like there's trouble on the horizon, especially with some of your mom's soap operas.
Yeah, it's just all TV in general, but she's kind of thankful she has her Young and the Restless going on still. She's been watching this program for 20 plus years. She started around college time, and so she's been watching soap operas forever, ever since she was hanging out with her grandmother, my great grandmother, and she still continues to do that today. But they came out and said that they only have the soap opera till May 15th, I believe. And she's like, May 15th's around the corner, you know? I mean,
Coming quick.
Yeah, in soap opera time, that's not too long.
That's not the soap opera turnover time is a different game than what a lot of other shows are, if you didn't know. I think soap operas are pretty interesting. I think now that your mom's show's ending, I think as soon as it ends, I might have to pick it up so I can have something that we could talk about more. You watch any soap operas with her?
I think I like kind of graze the show is what I'd call it. I don't really watch it, but like she's been watching it for so long, I just know the characters. And so I'm like, I'll like walk in, I'll be like, hey, what's that character up to? No good again, I see, and kind of walk out of the room. But there's this one guy in there, his name's Victor, and he's like this older guy. He's like pretty dang old. Favorite guy on the show. He's always up to no good, causing problems, but he should have been on like a different movie or TV series because he would be a perfect evil villain.
I like how you're like, yeah, I just graze it, and then you're like, oh, I have a favorite character though. Like, Noah, we can all smell your lies through this, all through our stereos. I could see it in your face through this Zoom chat. You are a liar. I know you like watching these soap operas. The reason you brought it up and you wanted to talk about this is because you're not the one upset about the soap, or your mom's not the one upset. You're the one that's upset about this.
It's one of those things where it's like such a hot mess that you can't stand to like not like look away while you're walking through the room. I really don't watch this show.
It's a beautiful disaster, one may say. It's
Yeah.
something that you like to sit there and watch burn straight to the ground.
See, if that show ended, that would be one of the best days.
I think you're lying. I think that you'd be really upset if you never got to see another episode with Victor walking around being an old evil villain type. I think that's what you really want.
Okay, but that guy's like the only good character. He's like this old guy, and he's been on there for like at least 50 years.
What is his role? Is he like antagonize anything, or is he just like the dude that just shows up that always has something like negative to say?
No, he's like this grandpa, but like he owns this big old company, and he's super loaded. Like everyone in the show's loaded. That's the whole point of it. And they're always like out to get each other. But right now he's like framed for murder, apparently. I was like, why is Victor all sad, Mom? She's like, he's framed for murder. And I'm like, what?
Oh, of course. Framed for murder. No, I think you and I could write a good soap opera.
Probably. The thing is, you don't have to write a super long story because they're on one story for about, I would say, 4 months. So you just write like 3-4 month long stories that you just kind of flip back and forth between, and then you'd have a soap opera.
Oh my gosh, I could think of a million things. If you were to do a soap opera, what would be the setting? Like what time and place would your soap opera take place in?
Uh, Jeez, I think it would be like a rural soap opera, because I don't know anyone that's like covered it that way. Like it's like a small farm town, and everybody knows everybody, and uh, just because of that, there's people up to no good stealing cattle or like doing different things like that.
Yeah, I think if I made a soap opera, I would want to make it in the early to mid 90s, and I would like to focus on the goth scene, some of the emo kids. I think if you did a soap opera on some of the emo kids, like some emo kids coming out of high school, be gold. We all know them. Some of us were even one of them, me included. Skinny Jean Shane was rocking them all the time in middle school. Oh, dude, I only wore skinny jeans growing up. That was like my thing. Black skinny jeans, Vans shoes, band shirts. That was my whole entire outfit. And that's, I mean,
Did you dye your hair dark and have the old pocket wallet chain? You know, the wallet.
I did have a wallet chain at one. I did have a wallet chain at one point. I used to have this thing that I loved bleaching my hair. So I've bleached my head quite a few times. Well, I've dyed it red before. Done a lot of stuff because I'm just a little bit strange. Just like all of this is all strange. Like all of it. I mean, this whole break is strange. We're talking about soap operas, and now we're talking about skinny jeans and red hair. We're all over the place, Noah.
Yeah, we are.
We're all over the place.
We gotta dial it back in, Shane.
Yeah, we gotta just grab that rein and bring it back in, folks. 88.1 The Burg, your music central in the backyard burn, again with your boy Shane Dog Peterson and Mr. Noah Annette. Noah, you always got great stories about your grandparents that you're always telling me. And we were talking about this before the break. Share the story with the people.
So my grandma thinks that when she learns something like on her phone, or, you know, tries to just anything in general involving technology, because she's not very good with it, but she wants to be ahead of the curve. Like she got a new smartphone to be hip one time, and this is kind of her deal. She wants to be ahead of the curve, but in reality, she's years behind the tech curve. And so she sits down with my dad one day and teaches him how to zoom in and zoom out on a smartphone for 30 minutes.
Whoop.
Yeah, just zoom in, zoom out, like with the fingers, and like super jazzed about it. And my dad was like, I could not get out of that house to save my life. And all she wanted to do was show me how to zoom in and zoom out on my phone. And he just was not happy about it. So now every time he asks me how to do something on his tablet, I'm like, well, you zoom in like this and you zoom out, just to mess with him.
I've been trying to teach my grandmother how to use like her tablet and her iPhone for quite some time. She's getting better at it. She's never had to deal with any type of technology before, really, ever. I mean, the most complicated thing she's ever really used is an email. But the one thing that I know that I've done to help her out, and I don't know if you've done this too, Noah, and if anybody else here wants to do this for their grandparents on their smartphone or tablet, you should download the 88.1 The Burg app, because from there you can get all of our content. You can listen to our live streams. You can find all of our social media. You can find all of our YouTube videos. You can find everything. You can listen to us live. You can hear it all the time anywhere. So I think that's something that you should try to show your grandmother next, so she could start going around and showing people how to download apps so we can get those app numbers up.
Yeah, I think she'd show probably the world, so we'd get quite a bit of app listens there if she could figure that one out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like she's already on the right path, which, I mean, is better than some of them. You know what I mean? Technology is a strange thing. I'm one of the most technologically illiterate people. I knew almost nothing. Elliot over here, who's been helping us record all this stuff, you've taught me more about computers than anybody else, and you've probably seen more dumbassery from me looking at a computer than anybody else you've probably ever met. But guess what, people? I figured out how to get a microphone and make it work on my computer. Look at the background. King of the Hill. Boom. None of you guys could see this on air, but King of the Hill, that's one of the inspirations for my life. Love that show. Don't ask me why I like it so much, but I can relate with it.
It's a pretty solid show.
Absolutely. We're always talking about these random shows, man. We're getting it out there. We just need to reel it back. Reel it on back.
See, that's my tactic, is just to rewatch old shows when all the new shows are off. I'm just gonna be like, okay, let's watch some King of the Hill.
As soon as I get off of there here, I am definitely gonna probably go home and watch a few episodes of King of the Hill. That's probably gonna happen. Go see Bobby. Dang it, Bobby, with you and your dang violent video games. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're getting wild here. We got to bring it back. 88.1 The Burg, your music central. You're in the backyard burn and the fire's getting low. It's time to call the dogs in. And you've got your dog right here, Mr. Shane Dog Peterson, and my good friend, Mr. Noah Annette. Noah, it is Friday. It is time to cue the George Jones song. It is time for us to close the end of this week, and we're going to be back with you here 6 to 7, Monday through Friday. Noah, what did you think about this week? What do you want the people to know, man?
And I don't really know what I want them to know, but I know that I'm pretty excited about just continuing on with quarantine life. I'm fine with living in a box for a little while. I don't have the cabin fever. I don't really feel the need to go outside. I was inside for 10 days in a row on one of these streaks until I had to go to the grocery store. I didn't even leave my house, not even to go in the yard. So I'm doing great that way. I just think that I don't know if you need any tips and tricks on how to stay entertained during the quarantine life, please reach out to us, and I'll give you a lot of tips and tricks.
Hey, you know the socials at ShaneDog6 and at Noah NWAH_Annette. You can find us on Instagram, and you could also find us on all social media handles at 881 The Burg on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Guys, we're going to have a lot more stuff cooking for you these next coming weeks. We got a lot of stuff coming. Look out for something because, we got this other show called Orton the Bear. And, guys, I just want y'all to know we're coming for you. We're going to come back for you. We're going to have a couple challenges coming up hopefully here pretty soon. We could probably do a bunch of challenges because we're trying to find some stuff to keep you guys happy and entertained and try to have something for me to do so I do not lose my mind, because unlike Noah, I'm losing it a little bit. I'm holding on just by the fingertips, but these are strong fingertips. They're holding on.
Who says that little dance video they had up was so hard? What's going on here? I feel like anyone can do a little Richard Simmons dance video. I think that's something people do in their spare time and don't even have a challenge with it. They just pull up the old tapes and go to town with it,
I mean, sometimes I put on my leg warmers and have a bucket full of water, do a little quick dance, and then drop the water on top of me at the end. I don't remember what movie that's from, but we're going to do it.
I'll pull out the old headband. I got some headbands in the garage. Maybe I'll do a little 1-2 number.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the short shorts because I already got mine picked out. Got Daisy Dukes coming in hot, but we're probably giving you too much stuff. You guys are getting a little too excited. This is going to be coming up in the works. And it's Friday. We're saying sayonara for the week, and we'll be coming at you on Monday. Guys, please check us out on YouTube, on all of our social media handles.